The mining station floated in silence above the gas giant, surrounded by stars and thick orange clouds. It was old and half-forgotten, but still running. Humans had built it long ago to gather rare gases, but now only a few workers stayed behind. To keep it alive, one of them was a young engineer named Toma. He lived in a small metal room with wires, tools, and a warm light he had fixed himself. Toma liked quiet places, worked with machines more than people, spent his days fixing broken engines and checking systems. One evening, just before a rest hour, the station's scanner beeped. Toma wiped his hands and looked at the screen. A red dot blinked something was falling fast, not far from the station. A crash? He whispered to himself. The computer confirmed. A small craft had fallen to the planet's rocky moon nearby. Toma didn't wait. He grabbed his helmet, tools, an emergency kit, then ran to the dock. His small shuttle was ready. It had dents and old paint, but it flew well. As the shuttle lifted off, Toma felt nervous. No ships were supposed to be here. The nearest route was far away. Could it be a lost trader, a pirate, or something else? He followed the crash signal. To the moon's surface, dust and stone covered the land. The sky was black, and the silence deep. His scanner showed the wrecked ship close by. When Toma landed and stepped outside, he saw smoke rising from a broken silver vessel. Its body was strange, smooth, and curved like a shell, not like human ships. Lights flickered inside. One side was torn open. Toma moved slowly. He called out, "Is anyone here?" No answer. He climbed inside carefully. The ship was quiet. Pieces of glowing panels lay on the floor. The air was cold. Then he saw her. She was lying against the wall, not moving. Her skin was pale blue and her hair shimmered like soft metal. She had long fingers and wore a silver suit. Her eyes were closed, but her chest moved slow, weak breaths. Toma knelt beside her. "Hey, can you hear me?" She didn't answer, but her fingers twitched. Without thinking, Toma pulled out his scanner. Her body was alive, but injured. He wrapped a blanket around her, lifted her gently, carried her to his shuttle. Back on the station, he placed her on the medical bed. The lights checked her health. Some ribs were cracked. Her leg was bruised. But she was stable. Toma sat beside her, staring an alien, a real one, not just on a screen, not in a book. He had heard about the Nellor, a quiet alien species that never made contact. They didn't trade, they didn't fight, just watched from afar and never let anyone close. Now one of them was here, and alive. Hours passed. Toma checked on her often. He didn't sleep. Finally, her eyes opened. They were large and dark silver. Like the sky before a storm, she blinked slowly, looked around, then at him. Her face didn't show fear, just confusion. Toma stood back, hands open. "You're safe," he said gently. "You crashed. I found you." She didn't reply. She tried to sit up, but winced. "Careful," he said. "You're hurt." She looked at the room, then back at him. Slowly, she pointed to herself and said one word in a soft, careful voice. "Zeri." Toma smiled. "Zeri? Okay. I'm Toma." She nodded once. They sat in silence. He wasn't sure what to do next. She was a guest, but also a stranger. Toma stood and brought her warm water. She took it with both hands and stared at the cup. Then slowly, she sipped. She looked surprised, then sipped again. "That's good," Toma said. "It'll help." Zeri said nothing, but she didn't look away. Eyes followed him as he moved around the room. She watched him fix the heater, open a meal pack, and adjust the lights. She watched like someone who had never seen any of it before. Toma offered her a small meal. It was simple rice and vegetables. She sniffed it, touched it, and took a bite. She didn't smile, but she didn't stop eating. That night, Toma set up a second bed in the corner of the room. He gave her a clean blanket and pillow. Zeri sat on the bed and touched the fabric like it was new to her. Before sleeping, Toma spoke. Softly, "I don't know if you understand me, but you're safe here. I won't hurt you." She didn't reply. But she gave a slow, small nod. Toma lay down and turned off the light. In the dark, he heard her shift. then light footsteps. He turned his head. Zeri stood near the heater, holding the same cup he had used. She placed it carefully back on the table then. She sat down near the heater just like he had earlier. She was copying him. Toma didn't speak. He just watched. Zeri looked into the soft orange glow of the heater, her eyes calm. She stayed like that a long time before returning to bed. Toma smiled. Maybe, he thought. She was more open than he first believed. Maybe this was the start of something. Neither of them could understand yet, but it had begun. The next morning, soft light came through the small window of the station. Toma woke up slowly, blinking at the ceiling. For a moment, he thought he had dreamed everything. But when he sat up, he saw Zeri. She was already awake. She sat cross-legged, near the heater again, quiet and still, her eyes watching the glowing light. The blanket he had given her was neatly folded beside her. She had cleaned her cup and placed it on the table just like he did the night before. Toma rubbed his eyes and smiled a little. "Good morning," he said. Sir turned her head slightly, but said nothing. Toma didn't expect a reply, stood up, stretched, and walked to the food corner. He made 2 cups of warm water and brought one to her. She accepted it with both hands, the same way as yesterday. Still no words, just quiet movements. But she looked calm. She didn't seem afraid. Toma sat across from her, drinking slowly. After a while, he pointed to himself and said, "Toma." Then, he pointed to her. "Zeri." She gave a soft nod. He pointed again. Toma then smiled. Zeri looked at him, then touched her chest gently. Zeri Toma gave a small laugh. "Yes, that's right." Zeri tilted her head slightly. She was trying to understand. Her eyes moved from his hands to his face and back, as if reading a secret message he didn't know he was sending. Toma stood up and grabbed a few small tools from his desk. He sat back down and started checking a small broken fan. Wires hung from the side and the motor was weak. As he worked, he talked to himself slowly and clearly. "This wire goes here. No, not that one. Okay, maybe this." Zeri didn't move at first. But after a few minutes, she scooted a little closer and watched. Her silver eyes followed every movement. She didn't ask questions, but her focus was sharp. Toma noticed and smiled. "You like machines?" Zeri didn't answer. But when he offered her a small screwdriver, she took it gently. He pointed to a screw and motioned twisting. Zeri copied his hand. She turned the tool the wrong way at first, then corrected herself. Slowly the screw came loose. Toma gave a short clap. "Nice." Zeri looked at the tool, then at the fan. She touched the side and leaned in closer. Her fingers brushed over the motor as if feeling for energy. She said one soft word in her own language, one Toma couldn't understand. But her voice was calm. That was progress. For the next hour they worked in silence. Toma let her try parts of the repair. She was careful, precise. She didn't speak, but she responded to every motion he made. When he smiled, she watched his mouth and tried to copy the shape. Later, Toma opened a small box and pulled out a tablet. It showed pictures, plants, stars, oceans, buildings. He showed the first picture. Tree. Zeri looked at the green shape, then back at him. "Tree," she said softly. Toma grinned. "Yes." Tapped another. "River." Zeri copied river. Each word was slow but clear. Her voice was soft like wind through glass. But when he showed a picture of people too, humans hugging, Zeri paused. She tilted her head and looked confused. Toma touched the screen. "Friends," he said. Sura looked again. "Friends?" He nodded. She didn't copy this time. Instead, she stared at the image for a long moment. Then she looked at Toma. He didn't press her. Instead, he showed another picture, a bowl of soup. "Food." Zeri copied. "Food." Later that day, Toma walked outside the room to check the station's system. It was quiet. A soft hum filled the hallway. Lights blinked gently on the walls. He returned an hour later with some metal sheets and tools. To his surprise, Zeri had cleaned the small living area. The table was wiped, blankets folded, the cup placed perfectly beside the heater. Toma raised an eyebrow. Did you clean all this? Zeri didn't answer, but she stood near the table and looked at him as if asking, was this good? Toma gave a thumbs up. Nice work. Zeri didn't smile, but her head tilted slightly, the way he had seen before when she was pleased. That evening, Toma made a warm meal against simple bread and vegetable soup. He placed a bowl in front of Zeri. She sniffed it, tasted it, then slowly began to eat. Toma spoke between bites. Humans like warm food. We eat together. It's a way to connect. Zeri looked at him. Her spoon paused in midair. She didn't repeat his words, but she kept eating. After dinner, he played a soft tune on a small music player. The sound was slow and peaceful, just a few simple notes from a string instrument. He sat back and closed his eyes. Zeri didn't move for a while. Then, she sat on the floor, legs folded, hands resting on her knees. Her eyes closed. She listened. For the first time, Toma noticed something different in her face. Not emotion exactly, but peace. When the song ended, Zeri opened her eyes. She reached out and touched the music player carefully, as if it were alive. She looked at Toma. No words were spoken. But something had changed. Zur, the silent alien girl, was learning his ways, and she was slowly, carefully showing her own. The ship floated quietly in space, like a silver bird resting between stars. Inside the turn, Sira was learning how to use her hands for more than just holding things. She sat beside Milo at the small work table, watching closely as he fixed a broken sensor. Her legs were still weak, but her mind was fast, sharp like a blade, even if her body was slow. Can you hand me the blue wire? Milo asked that. Sira picked up the wire, checked it carefully, and gave it to him. This one, that's it, Milo said. Perfect. She watched as he twisted the ends and added a small drop of glue. Why does it need glue? The wire in place, he explained. Doubt it, the connection breaks. Sira nodded slowly. Like people? Milo looked at her, surprised. What do you mean? If there's no glue, no care, the connection breaks, she said quietly. He smiled. Yeah, exactly like that. That night, after they ate a warm meal, Milo sat at his desk and pulled out an old pad. It was full of sketches and notes, blueprints, ideas, parts lists. Sira rolled her walker closer. That, Todd, something I started long ago. He said, before I became a trader. He flipped the pages. There were drawings of exosuits, support frames, and simple limb tools. I used to dream about building things to help people, he continued. Machines for those who couldn't walk or move like others. I wanted to fix things. Why did you stop? Sira asked. Milo shrugged. Life, bills, trouble. I needed work. So I flew ships instead. Sira touched the corner of one sketcha. Simple support spine with soft bends and light joints. Could this help me? She asked. Milo looked at her, then at the sketch. He hadn't thought about it in years. But now, with Sira beside him, it felt alive again. Yes, he said. I think it could. The next day, Milo pulled out his old toolkit. He searched through drawers, storage bins, and parts boxes. Wires, small motors, soft padding, adjustable rods. He laid everything on the floor. Sira watched with wide eyes. All this, for me? Not just for you, he said. It's for everyone like you. But we'll start with you. They worked together for hours. Milo taught her how to twist wires, tighten bolts, and connect circuits. Sira was patient. Mistakes, but she learned quickly. Sometimes she dropped a tool. Her hands were small and still weak. But every time she tried again, Milo saw something in her, a fire that never quit. A quiet strength, and for the first time in years, he felt something to hope. They built the first model in 4 days. It was simple, a soft support frame that fit around her back and waist. 2 small motors helped her lift herself when standing. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. Ready to try? Milo asked. Sira nodded. He helped her into the frame, adjusted the straps, stood beside her. Just a little pressure with your arms, he said. Let the motor do the rest. She held the walker, took a breath, and pushed gently. Her body rose slowly, shakily, but it rose. Her feet touched the ground. Her spine, once bent, now stood straighter. She took one step. Then another. Milo held his breath. Sierra laughed, a real laugh, soft but full of joy. "I'm standing," she said, "by myself." Milo smiled. "Yes, you are." She took another step, her hand still gripping the walker, for the first time. She didn't feel like someone who needed to be carried. She felt like someone moving forward. Later, after rest, Sierra sat at the window and stared at the stars. Milo sat beside her, sipping tea. "I want to help others," she said. Milo looked at her. "Others like you?" She nodded. "Those who were left? Those who feel broken, I want to show them they're not." Milo was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "You're not just strong, Sierra, you're brave." She looked at him. "I learned." "From you?" He shook his head. "No. I gave you a ship and tools. You gave me a reason." As the ship moved toward the next colony, Milo contacted an old friend, a human doctor named Wren. She worked at a small clinic on the moon station, Callan's Rim. Milo sent a message. "Need help. Got a girl who needs someone smarter than me. She's special. Worth it." A reply came quickly. "You? Asking for help must be serious? Bring her. I'll be ready." Milo turned to Sierra. "We're going to meet someone who might know how to make your frame even better." She smiled. "Do they like building too?" "They like fixing people," he said. "Then I already like them." Before landing at Callan's Rim, Sierra helped organize the parts they used. She labeled boxes, made notes, even drew a few ideas. For improving the design, Milo looked at her notebook. "That's pretty good." Sierra grinned. "It's just the beginning." He nodded. "Yes, and maybe not just for you anymore." As the lights of the moon station came into view, Milo made a new entry in his log. Sierra now walks short distances with support. First test successful. Designing new version with her ideas. She's not just healing, she's helping, I think. We both are. He looked at her, standing beside the window in her soft frame. A girl once left behind in the dust, now moving toward a future made with her own hands. There were still many steps to take, but she had already taken the most important. One, the first. The moon station Callan's Rim looked like a silver wheel floating in space. Lights blinked around its edges, and small ships came and went. Inside, it was busy but calm. The walls were clean, the air fresh, and the people moved with quiet purpose. As the turn landed in Dock Bay 3, Sarah looked out the window with wide eyes. She had never seen such a big station before. Milo smiled. "You nervous a little?" she said. "What if they don't like me?" "They will," Milo said. "And if they don't, that's their problem." Sierra gave a small smile and nodded. At the entrance, a woman in a white coat stood waiting. She was tall, with short dark hair and kind eyes. "Milo," she said, walking over. Milo stepped forward. "Wren." They hugged briefly. "This is the girl?" she asked, looking at Sierra. Sierra stood beside her walker, her back straighter than before. "I'm Sierra," she said clearly. Wren smiled. "It's good to meet you, Sierra. I've heard lot. I hope good things," Sierra said quietly. Wren laughed. "The best kind." Inside the clinic, Wren did a gentle scan of Sierra's back. She didn't use cold tools or sharp lights, only soft sensors and warm pads. "You've built something impressive." "Milo," she said, checking the support frame. "You, Sierra, you've learned fast?" Sierra nodded. "I want to keep learning." "You will," Wren said. "But I want to make this even better." She showed them a new design-a-lighter frame with soft joints and better control. It used special fabric that moved with the body instead of pushing against it. "With this you could move faster," Wren said. "Maybe even without the walker." Sierra's eyes lit up. "Can we build it together?" Wren said. For the next 2 weeks they worked in the clinic's lab. Sierra was part of every step, choosing materials, testing motors, checking balance. She even came up with an idea to add a smart sensor on the foot, something to adjust pressure based on the ground. That's clever, Ren said. You could be an engineer one day. I want to help others, Sierra said, like me. One day, as they tested the new frame, a message came through the station's public screen. Internex. Expo announcement. Galaxy-wide youth race in 12 days. All species. Welcome. Special adaptive class added. Sierra stared at the screen. What's that? She asked. Milo looked up. It's a big event. Kids from across the galaxy join. They run, fly, climb. It's more than a race. It's a way to show what's possible. Sierra's voice was soft. I never joined a race, only watched others. You still can, Ren said. Sierra looked at her feet, then at her walker. I'm not fast, she said. But you're determined, Milo said, and that matters more. Sierra was quiet for a long moment. Then she looked up. I want to enter. Some people didn't agree. An officer at the registration booth frowned when Milo helped Sierra sign up. She's Valari, said. They don't allow the weak in their events. She's not weak, Milo replied calmly. She can't run. She can move. She can learn. She's competing in the adaptive class. That's allowed. The officer sighed. You'll need to sign a risk form. Milo took the form without hesitation. We're used to risk. Later, Sierra asked, was it wrong to enter? Milo shook his head. It was right, because you decided. The next few days were full of practice. Sierra trained in the open hall of the clinic. She walked faster, turned tighter, balanced better. The new frame fit her body like soft armor. Didn't carry her, it supported her. She fell sometimes, but always got back up. Ren cheered from the side. Milo timed her laps with a smile. You're getting faster, he said. Faster than expected, Sierra replied. The day of the race arrived. The expo was bright and full of sound alien music. Bright banners, laughing children from many worlds. The adaptive class track was a complex path with ramps, low tunnels, and soft turns. It wasn't about speed. It was about movement, control, spirit. Sierra stood at the starting line beside 6 other kids with different frames, wheels, wings, and walkers. Some of them smiled at her. One boy waved. Sierra waved back. Milo stood. Behind the rail, watching. Ren stood beside him. Do you think she's ready? Ren asked. She's been ready for a long time, Milo said. The signal light turned green. Sierra pushed forward. The frame moved with her like a shadow. Her steps were small but quick. Her hands guided the side grips, and the foot sensors adjusted with each step. Up the first ramp, she leaned forward. Down the tunnel, she ducked low. Around a tight turn, she used her shoulder to steer. Milo held his breath, not because he wanted her to win, because she was doing it. On the final stretch, another racer fell. Sierra slowed, reached out, and helped him up. They both crossed the finish line together. The crowd cheered. Sierra stood straight, breathing hard but smiling wide. She didn't come in first. She came in 5th, but her moment was the one the cameras played again and again. The girl who helped someone else. The girl who was left behind and came back stronger. Later, in an interview, a reporter asked her, "What does this race mean to you?" Sierra looked into the camera and said simply, "I didn't come to win. I came to be seen." That night, Milo sat in the ship, updating his log. Sierra completed her first race. Did not win, but proved everything we believed. Frame worked. Spirit stronger. She's not just moving now. She's inspiring others. He closed the log and looked over at Sierra, who was fast asleep. Faster than expected, yes, but just in time for the world to notice her light. Inside the quiet Valerian base ship, Mira sat alone in her room. The walls were smooth and silver. The lights were soft and cold. There was no sound except for the hum of machines. Her small wooden bird, the gift from Tom, was hidden in her bag. She had not told anyone she brought it. She missed Earth, not just the place, but the people, the smells, the laughter, the sunlight through the trees. She missed Lena's silly questions and Tom's calm voice. Most of all, she missed the warmth of being seen not as a subject, but as a person. Now she was back in silence. Every part of her world had returned to logic, to routine. No hugs, no shared meals, no soft gifts made by hand. Just data charts and orders. But something inside Mira had changed. She could no longer pretend she hadn't felt anything that evening. She was called to meet with the science unit again. The lead scientist, Raylan, stood at the front of the room. She looked at Mira with cold, careful eyes. "We have reviewed your actions," Raylan said. "You were sent to observe humans, not form attachments." "I did both," Mira replied calmly. "That is not acceptable," Raylan said. "You let their emotions affect you. That is contamination." Myra stayed quiet. Another voice spoke. It was Alar, the system's monitor. "Did the human male give you objects? Did he try to control you through kindness?" "No," Mira said, firm now. "He gave without demand. I gave something back." Raylan looked confused. "Why?" "Because I wanted to," Mira said. "Because it felt... right." "You were thinking like them," Elar warned. "That is dangerous." Mira looked down, thinking of the honey toast, the shared stories, the flower from the child. "Maybe not dangerous," she whispered. "Maybe just different." That night, Mira opened her private log. Personal reflection entry 1. I once believed bonding rituals were strange, illogical. I watched them with a cold mind. But now, I see them as something more. Not weak, but powerful. A quiet strength. Humans bond not only because they need to, but because they choose to. Even when it hurts. Even when it's hard. I think that kind of connection matters. I don't know what to call this feeling yet. But I no longer want to hide it the next day. Mira received a message on her private device. It was from Tom. She opened it carefully. A soft image appeared, a photo of the wooden bird she had left behind, sitting on a shelf. Next to it was her silver cloth star. Tom's voice came through the speaker. "Hey, Mira, I don't know if this will reach you, but I hope it does. Things are quiet here. Lena misses you. I miss you too. You still have your place at the table. No pressure. But if you ever want to come back, the door is open. That's what family means to us. Take care, wherever you are." Mira stared at the screen. A single word echoed in her mind: family. Later that evening, Mira went to the observation deck. It was high above the ship's control rooms, and it showed the stars through a long, clear window. She stood there silently, looking at Earth far below. Another Valerian, Tannen, stood beside her. He was one of the younger researchers, quiet-like. "Her. You are different now," he said softly. "Yes," Mira said. "Is it frightening?" he asked. "A little," she replied. "But also... peaceful." Tannen looked thoughtful. "Do you believe they changed you?" Myra shook her head. "No, I believe they helped me find something I didn't know I had." He nodded slowly. "I would like to see Earth one day." "You should," Mira said. "But not just to study. Go to listen, to feel." He gave her a curious look. "Feelings are still strange to me." "They were strange to me too," she said, "till I realized they could guide me as much as logic does." The next morning, Mira made a decision. She sent a request to the council, not to return to Valari, not to stop her mission, but to change it. Mission adjustment request from Observer Mira. "I wish to return to Earth, not as a passive recorder, but as a bridge. I believe there is more to learn from emotional intelligence than we expected. If we wish to understand humanity, we must experience, not just observe. I am willing to continue my work under new terms. I will go back as a learner, as a guide. As myself." She waited for an answer. A whole Earth day passed. Then, too, finally, a message arrived. "Request under review. You may return for a limited term. Strict reporting required. Emotional behavior to be monitored." It wasn't full approval, but it was enough. She smiled. She was going home that evening. She prepared to leave the ship again. Mira opened her travel bag. She took out the wooden bird, and beside it, she placed something new. A small drawing made with colored chalk, her first attempt at human-style art. It was simple. Just a table with 4 chairs, a flower on top, and a little silver star in the corner. It wasn't perfect, but it was hers. And now, she knew what it meant. The small shuttle hummed softly as it passed through Earth's upper atmosphere. Mira sat by the window, watching the blue planet come closer. Her heart beat faster than usual. It wasn't fear. It was something else, something warm and strange. Maybe excitement, maybe hope. She touched the smooth wooden bird in her coat pocket. It reminded her of something simple, yet strong care, freely given. As the clouds cleared, Myra saw the familiar green hills and the silver river near the small town called Willow Bend. The town looked just like she remembered, quiet, peaceful. Shuttle landed just outside the fields, hidden from human sight, as ordered by the council. Mira stepped out, taking her first breath of earth air in many weeks. The scent of grass, soil, and early autumn leaves filled her chest. She smiled. She was home. Mira walked the familiar dirt path toward the edge of town. Her boots brushed through. The fallen leaves, birds sang softly from the trees. She stopped once to watch a squirrel run across the road. This place was so different from the Valerian ship. Here nothing moved in perfect lines. Nothing made only logical sounds. But it was beautiful in its own way, natural, imperfect, alive. As she neared the small wooden house, she saw someone in the garden trimming flowers. It was Tom. He stood slowly when he noticed her. His eyes widened. Mira. She nodded. For a moment he didn't speak, and he walked toward her. "You're really here," he said. "Yes," she said softly. Tom looked her over. She was wearing simple earth clothes, but her stance was different, more relaxed, more open. She looked the same, but something had changed. "I didn't know if you'd come back," he said. "I wasn't sure either," she replied. "But I asked for a new mission, one that lets me stay longer." Tom smiled. "Well, you still have your room?" Inside the house, everything was just as she left it. Her books, the shelf with wooden carvings, even her silver cloth star, placed gently beside Tom's newest wooden flower. "You kept it?" she asked. "Of course," he said. "You made it. That makes it special." Mira felt a gentle warmth inside. She sat down at the kitchen table. "Lena's at school," Tom said, "but she'll be overjoyed to see you." "I would like that," Myra said. Tom poured her tea without asking. Myra took the cup carefully, feeling the warmth through the ceramic. This simple act, the offering of tea, was something she now understood. It wasn't just about drinking. It was about welcome. Later that evening, Mira stood outside, watching the stars. Tom joined her on the porch. "Did the council agree icily?" he asked. "No," she said. "They still don't fully understand. But they agreed to a trial. I must send regular updates."
"Are you still observing?" he asked.
She replied, but differently now. Not from distance, not with walls, with heart. Tom nodded. "I think that's the only way to really learn anything." They stood together in silence, watching the stars. The next day, Lena came running up the steps the moment school ended. "Mira," she shouted. Mira opened the door, and Lena hugged her tightly. Mira still wasn't fully used to hugs, but now she understood what they meant. She hugged back. "I missed you so much," Lena said. "I missed you too," Mira replied. Lena pulled out a small bag. "I made you something at school." Inside was a tiny clay bowl, uneven but colorful, with a heart shape carved on the side. "It's not perfect," Lena said. "It's beautiful," Mira replied. "I will treasure it." In the following days, Mira began helping around town again. She returned to the community center where she once volunteered. She helped teach small children how to hold paintbrushes. She assisted the local librarian in organizing books. Sometimes, she even helped in the garden outside town. People began to notice her return. Some greeted her warmly. Others still looked at her with quiet curiosity. She didn't mind. She understood now that building trust took time. One evening, As she helped set tables for a local harvest dinner, a woman named Martha, who once avoided her, approached. "You're the alien girl, right?" she asked. "Yes," Mira said politely. "You stayed with Tom. People say you helped during the fire last year." "I only did what I could," Mira replied. Martha paused.
Well, my niece still talks about the storybook you read to her, so...
Thank you. Mira smiled gently. "She was kind to me. I remember her laugh." Martha nodded and walked away. It wasn't much, but Myra felt it was a small step, another thread in the web of connection. Back at home that night, Myra opened her private log again, personal reflection. Entry to Earth feels familiar now, not strange. People are not perfect, but they try. I used to think rituals like hugs or gifts were pointless. I see they carry messages that words alone cannot speak. Each act of kindness, each shared smile is a bond. I no longer study bonding. I live it. I still learn every day. But I no longer feel like a visitor. I feel... like part of something. Tom peeked into the room. "Writing your report?" Myra looked up. "Something like that." He handed her a plate of apple pie. "Here. Lena insisted you try it." Mira took it carefully. "It smells ... happy." Tom chuckled. "That's the cinnamon." They sat together quietly, eating pie as the wind rustled the leaves outside. It wasn't a grand moment, no speeches, no fireworks. But Myra knew this was what real connection looked like. Simple, honest, shared. The sun rose slowly over Willow Bend, casting a soft golden light across the fields. Birds sang from the trees, and the air was cool and fresh. Myra stood outside the small wooden house, watching the morning begin. It had been 3 full Earth months since she returned. 3 months of laughter, learning, and quiet moments. She had shared meals, helped in gardens, listened to stories, and been part of a world once unknown to her. But today, something felt different. A message had come early that morning from the Valerian Council. Mira had not opened it yet. The small screen sat on the table inside, blinking softly. She already knew what it would say. Her trial period was ending. Council would ask her to return to Villard, to bring her data, her notes, and her mind back to the silent ship. They would expect her to go. But now, she had to decide for herself. Tom found her standing by the fence, looking out at the hills. "Message from the council?" he asked gently. She nodded yes. "They want a full report then," they will ask. "Me to return home." He didn't speak right away. He understood that this decision was not simple. "You always have a home here too," he said. "But I know you may have duties elsewhere." Mira turned to him. "I never thought this place would feel like home. I came only to observe, to learn." "You've done more than that," Tom said. "You became one of us." She smiled softly. Later, that day, Mira walked into town. She visited the market, the school, the garden. People greeted her warmly. Even those who once looked at her with curiosity now saw her with respect and kindness. At the school, Lena ran up to her. "Are you going away again?" the girl asked, sensing something in Mira's face. "I do not know yet," Mira replied. "Honestly, I hope you stay," Lena said, holding her hand. Mira knelt down beside her. "Lena, may I ask something?" Of course, the girl said. "What does it mean to belong?" Lena blinked. "It means you're part of something, like a puzzle piece that fits." Mira smiled. "Thank you." That simple answer meant more than she expected. That evening, Mira sat in her room. The wooden bird Tom had carved for her was on the desk. Beside it sat her journal and the silver star she had made. She picked up her device and opened the message from the council. "Mira, report required. Your trial observation has ended. Return to the ship within 36 Earth hours. Emotional activity to be reviewed." She read it twice, then slowly placed the device down. She didn't answer right away. Instead, she opened her journal and began writing her final report. "Final entry, Valerian mission report. I arrived on Earth to observe human bonding rituals. At first, I saw them as inefficient and strange, but then I became part of them. I learned that sharing a meal is more than eating. It is an invitation. To belong, a gift is more than an object. It is a message of care. A hug is not weakness. It is trust made visible. These rituals are not distractions, they are bridges. I have experienced friendship, kindness, and something I cannot yet fully name. I no longer wish to study these rituals as an outsider. I wish to live them. I request to continue this work on Earth not only as a scientist, but as one who now understands. If denied, I may still choose to remain. She sent the message then. She breathed. For the first time, the decision felt like her own. The next morning, Tom found her outside with a backpack and a small box, going somewhere. He asked, trying to keep his voice light. I am going to the field where my shuttle can land. She said. He nodded slowly. Do you know what you'll do? He asked. I told the council my choice, Mira replied. I wait for theirs. But I also told them, even if they say no, I may stay. Tom smiled. She handed him the small box. For you, she said. Inside was a new carving, a small figure of a tree, with one wooden branch and one silver cloth leaf. It's both of our worlds, she said. Tom held it carefully. Thank you. Mira looked. Around at the trees, the sky, the town in the distance. This place changed me, she said, and I am glad. Tom placed a hand gently on her shoulder. You changed us too. Hours passed. Mira sat alone in the field. The wind brushed her hair. The birds flew in quiet circles above. Then her device blinked. Message received. Mira. Council response. Approved. You may continue Earth-based study. Role changed to cultural bridge agent. Emotional experience permitted for learning purposes. Report monthly. We await further understanding. She smiled. She stood up, turned off the device, and looked toward the town. Then she walked back, not as a visitor, but as someone who had chosen where she belonged. Back at the house, Tom was building a new shelf. Lena was drawing with chalk on the porch. Mira walked up the steps and smiled. I'm staying, she said. Lena cheered. Tom just nodded, calm and happy. We never had a doubt. As the sun began to set, the three of them sat together under the sky. No one spoke for a while. They didn't need to, because sometimes silence shared with the right people was one of the strongest rituals of all.